I guess kind of like a stepping stone to a bigger vision that I have for the DAO. Um, yeah, at the moment it's very, I guess, US centered, and that of course makes sense because it was a US based company, right? Um, but as a DAO, no, I think it's really important to start. Oh, it's distracting me. Okay. Yeah. So as a DAO, I think, I mean, part of the whole blockchain ethos is, you know, blockchain should help those that are like not us, or it should help us too, but you know what I mean? Like bank the unbanked and kind of level out the whole playing field. So yeah, that's why I have like I guess passion for trying to get the less educated more involved in the blockchain space. And yeah, great.
To advance.
The screen share actually stopped, just FYI.
Oh, interesting. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Something weird happened there. Let me try again. Share my screen. And go live. Sorry about that. There we go.
Next slide.
Okay, next slide. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, so quick introductions, and we're gonna talk about a little bit about our mission, our responsibilities, the processes, services, and our long-term vision. And since I kind of introduced myself already, Ray, you wanna go ahead?
Introducing myself. Yeah. So hi. I go by a moniker of Gray Machine. You can also call me Harry. I've worked in motion design, 2D and 3D motion design for quite some time, and now I work also doing that stuff for a software company as a product manager, content developer, and wearer of many hats. So I do a lot of different things at a company called Maxon. Maxon makes software for 3D animation and stuff like that. So you might have seen me creating little bits of content here and there, some videos, some GIFs and stuff like that. So that's why, because I make a lot of animation and visual effects and stuff like that already. So I'm here to kind of help with this this project, doing sort of a special side of it, doing video content from the information that we put together. And we've got more slides on that later, so that's not the whole pitch right there. There's a process to our video content creation.
Yeah, I think people are having problems with the pull-up right now, but we'll worry about that later. Okay.
Okay.
It's hard to do on my phone. I don't know what slide we're on.
Okay. Well, should we keep moving forward, or is there an issue we need to resolve?
Over the years. Is it still streaming for everyone, or is it just me?
Streaming.
Okay.
Okay. I guess tell me what page we're on.
We are on introductions. Okay. So I guess that's what we just did. All right. So sorry, keeping up here. So moving ahead, Workstream mission and ethos.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so I think any and all information related to ShapeShift, its products and services, DAO, it should be easier to find. Um, you know, ShapeShift has a really colorful history. Um, one of the pioneers that really pushed the blockchain space early on. And I think the current state of the information flowing around, I guess, around ShapeShift, um, is not enough. Um, yeah, I think, uh, like I said a little bit earlier, spreading information and engaging and empowering people with, mm, I mean, all kinds of knowledge. But I guess since we're talking about, DeFi and exchanges, crypto, um, you know, people that can benefit the most from this are the ones that are actually out of the picture right now. Well, that's the ethos, but yeah, I want to go to the next slide. So, yeah, make information easier to find, understand, and try to increase DAO participation. And we want to engage, I guess, not just English speaking or the crypto community, but just anyone in general, pretty much, and try to raise the next generation of leaders. And by doing that, we can actually empower them because they'll be the ones to actually go to their communities and, I guess, spread the word. One example of this is, yeah, I was mentoring this guy in Mexico, and I taught him like alternate mining method. It's like mining via bandwidth, not through computational powers or whatever. Yeah, it was kind of life changing for him, and that's when I realized, like, wow, like $10 to us might not be nothing, or it might not be anything, but to those like around the world that are not as fortunate as us, I guess, like it's so easy to come by in crypto, but they just don't know how. And yeah, let's move on from this philosophy stuff. All right, so responsibilities, these are pretty much everything that we laid out in the proposal itself. But what we want to do is, unify the fragmented information that's everywhere. Right now, there's like Zendesk, there's the blog, there's Vimeo, there's Boardroom. Uh, I think you get the point. But not only that, I think there is a lot of information gaps, and as well as misconceptions. And we want to help clear that up as well. And also want to yeah, Ray's really good at this. He's like I don't know, he's got like a professor vibe. But I think ideating, better communication methods, uh, exploring new methods would be good. And of course, kickstart the Global Community Leader Program. Yeah, so I'm having a problem right now because I don't know what to call the program because it might confuse, the DAO, calling them Global Community Leader. So if anyone has any like cool suggestions or ideas, always feel free to chime in. And yeah, this is an issue I bring up a lot. And I know it's something that the DAO can't really do at this point, but eventually, yeah, we would like complete transparency. Uh, Next slide, please.
Well, this is my slide or my couple slides.
Okay.
Is that
Go
okay?
for it.
We kind of jumped into. So as a part of this repository of information, as much as it's good to have it there for everybody to read, anybody that's worked towards creating documentation knows that it's hard to get people to read documentation. So as a supplement to the information that we create, we want to create video content that supports it, summarizes it. So part of this proposal, there was, I think, a budget of, is it a 4-month budget or a 3-month? It's 4-month actually, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
for a minimum of 4 videos a month for 4 months. So that's 16 videos. So it's a lot of content to kind of create and create a purpose for. So and tying into what LPX was talking about earlier, let me back up. It's funny because we came up with these slides and the ideas independently, and then we put them together. His idea of educate, engage, and empower. This video content, I don't want to overthink it, right? Like people are just going to be like, well, let's make a video to help people learn how to use a PO app, or let's make a video on, how to use TipBot or whatever. But in general, because there's a lot of content and a lot of different areas we can put it in, I want to have at least a sort of a big picture plan of where we're going with this stuff. Like, if we do them in a nonlinear order in terms of that user journey of, we introduce them to the DAO, or right, if they're participating in the Discord server, or they're just following on Twitter, or they're reading articles or whatever. Somehow they've stumbled into our lives. So we want to have this journey from a new user, right? So our goal is to sort of educate the new user. And then we bring them on this journey to make them an informed user that will engage with us in various ways. And I'll talk about the specific topics on this in the next slide. And then make them a participating user. So we have this sort of big picture journey process that we want to kind of guide them through, from new user to informed user to participating user. And we'll do this using something that is used in adult education. It's called the ADDIE process, where we analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. And if you've worked in user experience, this is almost 100% identical. And I don't know who did it first, if education stole it from user experience or vice versa. But basically, you do your deep dive in terms of, talking to people. What are the, as a new user, I tried to grab my airdrop and I ran into these problems, right? lost the password and I can't get it back, or different things like that. So talking to people, gathering data, and then we go through the design process of putting together the topics that we want to cover and what we want to engage with. Then we develop and put it out there, implement. So in a user experience, this would be like a deployment, right? Like launch the software, gather your data, and then you feed that back into your analysis and you start the whole thing over and you repeat this forever and ever. So I want to kind of incorporate that a little bit. So we've started a little bit of this analysis, but and actually the last part, it's sort of a 3-part thing, but the sort of final goal, well, an optional goal, is if they are a participating user, can we kind of get them into being a Workstream member? Not everybody needs to be a Workstream member. You can just be a voting member, so that's kind of an optional part. So as we come up with topics and people are suggesting ideas, I want to see a video on this or a video on that, it's just important to think of it in terms of those buckets of buckets of stuff. Like, where does it go? Is it a new user thing that we're trying to move them forward and become a more informed user? So it's just a good way to think of it. And that as we start to piece together different ideas, we create a unified sort of story that is a user journey from new user to, sort of super user, participating user. This is definitely not a finalized list. This is stuff that I grabbed off of the poll channel and just things that I've talked to people about. To create the final list, we'll want to do, and this isn't going to take weeks and weeks, but we'll want to do something called a formal needs analysis. So we'll possibly throw out some informal surveys to people, just talk about their experience, about the things that I'm seeing that I don't understand or I've tried to do and I ran into problems. The poll public channel and Discord is definitely a good place to just kind of get instant feedback. But I'd also love to have discussions with, excuse me, with UX marketing and support, because those are all different groups that get all kinds of data from customers in various ways. So just real quick, I don't want to get caught up in the weeds, but a needs analysis is just kind of a breakdown of like those high level functions that are required to complete a thing to be this person, right? To be a new user, I would do these things. I would register, I'd claim my airdrop, maybe, hopefully. I would do some trades, things like that, and break those down into all the different tasks and dive into like, what is the prerequisite knowledge? What are the skills? What are the abilities that we have to have? Because tying into what LPX was saying earlier about the target, the language that I hear a lot on that I see on the blog and I see in the Discord and I see in the governance meetings is intermediate plus level. And I know we're not here to handhold people, but we do want to kind of break things down and have it accessible to people that just don't understand like what this stuff is. And I'm one of those people, like, I don't really have a strong crypto background. That's why I find all this fascinating, because I'm learning as I go. So we'll break everything down. Sorry, I had a fig bar in the things that stuck in my throat. And then just, listing all the sorry, take a drink. All the stuff that is needed. And I will throw all of this into Notion, which I started working on today. I think that's my last slide. Oh yeah, just a couple of thoughts. As we make video content, we want to keep translation in mind. I don't think it's in the budget initially, but we don't want to be too reliant on type and typography designs that are going to be difficult to move from or move out of English. I'll try my best to create templates so we can really stuck in my throat to create templates of the work that I'm doing, so we can simplify the work process and minimize the time as we move forward. We want to make sure that these are short, engaging, shareable. I think we did that one on the tip bot, and it was shared and it was pretty well received. And that was I think 30 seconds. I think I got it under 30 seconds. So very short, shareable, 1-to-1 aspect ratio video content that we can put out there on Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. And we have to make sure that it's not sucky. So that's everything. That's the deep dive into the video content. It might sound like a little bit of an overthink on it, but it's easy for this kind of thing where we're just like, okay, let's make 16 videos. It's easy for it to quickly get out of control and get all over the place and get scattered and not have a unified message and a unified goal. So I want to have that up front and then put our content into this plan. And I think that's really about it. Yeah, and this kind of goes back to some of LPX's slides.
Right, so as a work stream, we have some processes that are going to be ongoing. Obviously, the first one will be to onboard, train, and oversee the new global leaders or whatever we're going to name them. And, you know, this is the first time trying to, I guess, do this for a DAO. So I think we're going to learn a lot along the way. But yeah, I'm so excited to see, you know, if people will really step up, I guess. And okay, second point. Yeah, so as an information stream, I think we should always be on top of new information. Not only limited to Shapeshift and our DAO, but you know, blockchain and the whole industry in general. But yeah, good to know what's going on around you. And yes, distribution of compensation for language leaders and content bounty contributors, which I'll explain more in a bit. But next slide, please. Dang, you hit the wrong one.
What's on?
We're on the wrong slide.
Oh, did it? Oh. Oh, weird. Did I hit end? I'm sorry. Let me bump. I must have bumped a. Sorry about that. Which slide we were here? Just give a shout if I'm on the right slide. If I don't hear anything.
Page 12.
12. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, so this global leader program, I guess a lot of people are wondering exactly what it is and what purpose they serve, as well as their duties. A lot of people, I think they want to see them as just translators, but I disagree, and I actually want these translators to become a long-term contributor of the DAO, and potentially be future leaders themselves. And they're also a friendly face for those occasional international guests that somehow find the Discord or Telegram. Just having someone that speaks your language, I guess, makes you a lot more comfortable. And, yeah, so not only would they be in charge of translating, they should be on the lookout for I think we're going to be creating like special language rooms, like you know, like how other servers do it. So yeah, they'll be responsible for their own language. And yeah, they act as a like an arm for the DAO. Uh, and what I mean by that is because the group of, I guess, people around us are so different that the DAO, you know, suddenly has access to a new demographic, potential partners or members, but whatever it may be, it's something that would have been hard or impossible to do without me.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. So this stuff's awesome. And one of the problems I ran into with the mobile app translations is I didn't have a way to QA it, like to check if the translations were accurate. Do you envision these leaders to be bilingual, just at least to start? So, like, so we can at least communicate.
Yeah. I'll actually get into that
Okay, sorry.
the next time. But I think there's like an animation stuff. Can you press like one key?
Slide you said?
Can you press a key? I think there's an
Oh,
animation that's stuff.
yep.
Yeah. So their duties and responsibilities, obviously be knowledgeable and be in sync with the DAO. And that includes ethos. Obviously represent the DAO with professionalism and friendliness. And of course, what their what the meat of their, I guess, work would actually be in, which is the translation of the documents. And you know, that's great and all, but it'd be even greater if they're active in the community and enjoying themselves. Next slide, please. Okay, so
Hey, I got a quick question before you continue. So,
yeah,
translating anything to an alternative language has a cost and a benefit, right? The benefit being the new users who can come into the community, and the cost being, the time and resources we spend on making it available in those languages. So, what metrics do you intend to use to measure the cost and the benefit of each translation?
well, first of all, a lot of the concepts that we're going to be covering, there's not that much content on the internet in a lot of these languages. So I'm actually expecting quite a bit of organic traffic from either Google or Google's team right now. Yeah, so I've always I've been in, I guess, growth hacking, marketing, entrepreneurship for 2012, and one thing that always stuck with me was that it's kind of cliche, but content is king. Um, and I still think that content is still king today. And like financially, it might be hard to track like to the T, like the ROI of the program. But I'm not saying that there's going to be zero ROI. Yeah.
It's I mean, there's two different ways to look at this, I think. One is the way the question was asked of like, we're going to write it in English and what's our justification for making it not English. But I think we might want to think about it in that it is an international community and we should be thinking reasons why we aren't translating them from English. I know, like you said, there's probably not a traceable ROI from going from English to Spanish or English to Japanese or whatever. But I think it's just a fundamental inclusion thing that we should probably build as a cultural part of the DAO to not make it English, American, and then we're doing in people favors by making it other languages. You know, I think it's also a way of how we look at it, because in a traditional software sense, yeah, that's absolutely the case of like, well, we make this app and we're selling it, or we make income, and if we're going to invest so much to move it to a different market in the native language versus just assume they can use it in English, of course you want to track your return on investment, but this is a different thing here, you know.
Well, my concern isn't, I love English. Well, I have a love-hate relationship with English, but I'm not arguing for English supremacy. It's more of a, if we're going to undertake this initiative, I think we need something to measure whether we're having the impact that we want, right?
Yeah, I
Choosing
think
the right
that
languages.
can be done in various ways. Right now, there's pretty much zero participation from the international community. And just by, I guess, keeping track of traffic and the demographics of ShapeShift users and how, yeah, I guess in a way we could try to measure and see if there's like a shift. But I don't know, to me it's bigger than this project is bigger than just numbers. You know?
Well, I suppose that my concerns are more in the long term than the short term, because there is a diminishing marginal returns to things like the number of languages you use. So the first languages we add will probably have a big impact, but I think further down the line, we may find that adding more languages, past a certain point becomes less productive. That's all I'm trying to say.
You could take that route, like in your way of thinking, maybe. But if you apply what they're doing to, say, the marketing workstream, I mean, I could run campaigns off of different languages all day. So,
And I think another cool thing is if we can open this to the community, it could be organic growth from the community as well, where we're getting feedback that from our international members it's working. And I think another thing we can quantify is App Store downloads in different countries and web pages. So I like where your head's at, though. I think that those are really good examples, especially if we can get solid Google Analytics on this new project that they're proposing.
Yeah, something like that sounds good. All right.
We could also track use, like if we're finding one just has a minimal usage, and we can say, well, the effort versus the usage just isn't justified, then we could always revisit it later on too. Just another thought.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
Do you guys envision that this workstream could potentially evolve? Like, I'm thinking about the future of the Shapeshift platform and the apps and how we get translations handled right now in a centralized way. And I don't think we have a clear path forward for how that's going to happen in the DAO land. And I'm wondering if maybe this workstream could be, I guess, expanded to potentially help us figure that out as we continue to build out new features and new applications.
I think the fact that we're a DAO kind of takes care of that. DAOs are by their very nature very adaptive.
Yeah, I think we're going to be highly integrated with this workstream, along with the other work streams. I mean, I already feel like they should be integrated with marketing out of the gate. among other work streams. So.
Yeah, great. Any thoughts?
Me? Oh, well, I've interjected a few. I mean, this this whole initiative could go in a number of different directions. You know, it could be an information repository like we're proposing it. It could be a learning and development work stream where it is dedicated to educating people. And that does intersect with marketing, and it intersects with, you know, a number of product management and other things. I think it's good to take that first step. What we're starting with is to get everything that's kind of all over the place. There was another site today that was like, oh my gosh, another site. So we've got like Zendesk, we've got the blog, we've got stuff in Snapshot, and then yeah. So we're, you know, somebody was making a spreadsheet to keep track of all the different things that are going on. So unifying the information is just a good step, and I think it'll start to we'll have a clearer picture of where to take this. Of, you know, it's just standalone information work stream? Is it more dedicated towards learning and enablement of users? Or if that's a different thing. It's I think it's very early to tell. I think the first step is just to get all of our ducks in a row, and then move from there.
Okay, so the 6 languages that we're targeting was actually picked not randomly, but through several metrics such as like crypto adoption, purchasing power, obviously population. But at the same time, we don't want to make it like set in stone. Like these have to be the languages that we have to get first, you know. So just putting that out there. And hopefully members that are looking to become global leaders can dedicate at least 20 hours a week. Next slide, please. The onboarding process should be as natural as possible. I think, shoot, sorry, I forgot who asked before, but about the whole bilingual thing. I think before taking any translators on as a leader, they should be, I guess, already well integrated to a certain degree with the DAO. And yeah, just so that we know. So we're trying to, I guess, lower the turnover rate, because if the turnover rate is, it's just more work, gets ugly, costs more, and it's just more taxing on the DAO. So yeah, and yeah, so I definitely want to have third-party reviews of the candidates' writing and translation capabilities. Because technical writing is, it's even harder in English, but if you're bilingual, especially in a new field like blockchain, I'm sure even harder. But at the same time, we shouldn't count anyone out because they didn't know China. No one knows everything, whatever. Yeah, in the process, or in the case that two candidates are like, they're both very liked by the community, and they're both very good at what they do. To be honest, I don't know what would happen in that case yet. Um, I don't know if it would, I guess, call for a vote. I don't know. And you have any ideas? I'll take them later, but right now we gotta keep moving. Next slide, please. I think something's missing. You press the key.
There we go.
So we didn't talk about compensation yet. In the proposal, it clearly laid out that the global leaders will be paid 1,500 a month. Fox tokens pegged to USD at the time of its distribution. And everyone has a 4-month term, even the leaders. And for the language leaders, in the proposal, it said that after 4 months, if the DAO is really happy with their work and their contributions, and it would be bumped up to 2,000. And sometimes there might be a need to hire temporary volunteers, and that will do case by case. Probably consult with the DAO first. And bounties and DAO participation. Someone asked about that. So we're not restricted to only work with members that end up joining the workstream, and we want to get the entire community involved, and we are looking into possible ways. I'll share that with you soon. Next slide, please. So the whole information repository, yeah, the workstream was proposed in mind with developing that, whether it's data, information, articles, everything and anything related to ShapeShift. That could be used both by DAO members, but also by external players. Yeah, so I thought ShapeShift 1 was a pretty okay name, and I didn't get permission first, but I already got it, so hopefully they'll let me use it. Next slide, please. So what we're developing right now is pretty much, for now, we want to keep it simple, not overcomplicate things. So as we get all these documents, as we prepare them for translation, as we, I guess, prioritize what to, or what's needed most, and even what additional content we need. So I thought it was going to be a really tricky problem, or yeah, a really tricky, I guess, thing to solve, and getting the whole DAO involved, because once everyone is allowed to edit stuff, like Wikipedia in its early days, it can turn into a shit show. But what we've managed to do is actually get our repos in sync with GitHub right now. So at first, we're most likely going to be using GitHub so that everyone could actually, make pull requests or request changes. And for authentication, still thinking about that, but I mean, there's plenty of ways to sign who you are these days. So shouldn't be too big of a problem. But what's good about this system is that we'll have a record of who contributed where, and I guess what was really in demand. There's a lot of cool things we could do, I guess. Yeah, but right now it's very, very early stages. If anyone in engineering wants to check it out or help out, feel free. But yeah, anyone have any questions about document the repo?
What would people do their actual writing in before they, go to push
So
document? Or does it matter?
I mean, it'll definitely help them to have a easy to use tool. But the cool thing about Markdown is, you can actually write it on Notion, just copy it and paste it right over. But yeah, the plan. Can you go to the next slide?
Yeah.
So there's the front end connects with get the Markdown templates, and that's what's actually being shown on the front end. But we also need a back end to, I guess, manage the actual teams